So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name's Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube, and I use spirit, my intuition, the tarot, to communicate energies to you guys, fantastic viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. For those of you guys returning, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you guys are here. You guys are all very safe and welcome in this space with me today. Today's reading, we're looking at you versus you. So taking a look at the energy that's going on around you, maybe the way you're sort of engaged or the way you're seeing yourself or your situation, and then sort of where you're headed or what sort of guidance is Spirit giving you in regards to where you're progressing, or maybe anything that you're not seeing or maybe misconstruing. But this reading is to give you some guidance regarding the energy around you, okay? Occasionally I'll tap into the person around you, whoever has the strongest energy. So it might not be you, and it could definitely be someone you're dealing with. If that's the case, Spirit might want to give you some insights, maybe help you to understand, where people are coming from. Not excuse anyone, but potentially you're having one sort of understanding or viewpoint, and Spirit coming through with maybe an objective look, at what's going on. But I don't know who pulls through here. All I do is read cards and energy, okay? But very common in my channel for it to be sort of a flip reading, and your energy maybe not to pull through, but someone else's, or vice versa. So my intention is your energy, you versus you, okay? I might sound a little funny because I went to the dentist and feel like I got ran over 50 times. I don't like the dentist, and I don't know, my energy is like so super duper drained. But I did feel like this was the reading that I was being called to deliver, because I do feel like there is guidance here that is timely. Maybe someone's considering doing something, or maybe they're sitting in a very low place, because energetically that Scorpio full moon was really heavy, was very heavy, but and we're still processing, but I feel like there was big subconscious things being processed with the full moon that maybe we were not wanting to see or deal with, and now we're sort of coming out the other side a little beat up, like me and my mouth from the dentist. So I do apologize if my energy is a little low, but it is what it is here. I will ask spirits to infuse me with some fiery energy so I can get through this, and hopefully the more I talk, the more my mouth will, open up. All right, Linda, nobody cares. So, beautiful people, let's take a look at the decks we'll be using. So I'll be using the Enneagram Oracle, and I am using 3 decks from the Enneagram. The Love Oracle, okay, and when I say love, this could definitely be how you're engaged in a relationship. Okay, it doesn't have to mean that you are in a relationship with someone intimately, but it may be just the relationships you have on the go. Okay, and then I'll also be using the spiritual oracle from this deck, which will look at any sort of higher level journeys you might be on with the divine spiritually, okay, your ascension. And then we'll also be using the general oracle, which is more of your general sort of energy when it comes to how you're navigating at this time. And then we'll be using the shadow oracle, really straightforward, whereas there's still shadow in conjunction with the blind spot, because maybe we're not seeing certain things about ourselves or our situation. And we'll be using the astrological oracle and the the power of surrender cards. Okay, and then for the tarot, we'll use the Pastoral Tarot, which I haven't used on a video here aside from the opening of this deck. And they're absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I can't wait to get into this reading. What we'll do is we'll pull 3 cards here, okay? So let's pull 3 cards for the collective in regards to You versus you. Okay, your energy versus your energy, and see what pulls through here. Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of the collective. Can we pull 3 cards for the picks? Thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you so much, Collective, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. Option 1. Option 2. Let's pull the 3rd card. 3rd pick, 3rd option, Spirit, for the collective. Option 3. So, if at any point you are pulled to your pile, you can select from the timestamp down below. I will reveal these shortly. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's reveal these for you, beautiful angel. Pile 1, we have 56 with Chiron Uranus. Option number 2, we have Venus Mars with the number 30. Man, look at me shake. And option number 3, we have Jupiter Neptune with card 48. I was so clenched in the dentist chair that I felt like I was going to spring a sprocket. Yes, I'm full of sprockets. Alrighty, these are your 3 beautiful people. Sit with it, mull it over, absorb it. Don't force it. If you have a difficult time choosing your card, close your eyes, open your eyes, whichever one sort of intuitively pulls at you, that will most likely be your pile, okay, or what you're needing to hear. I don't control what spirit pulls through. If it's someone else you don't want to hear from, then go to another pile. And if it's a message that has nothing to do with you versus you, I don't control that either, okay? But Spirit knows you're clicking on this video and you are being guided to take a listen to whatever that is. But so it's up to you whether you want to listen to it or not, okay? Don't yell at the tarot lady. I have nothing to do with anything. All right, gorgeous people, sit with this and then we'll pull your cards. I will see you at your pick. Bye-bye. Hello, pile number 1. You guys picked card 56, Chiron and Uranus. All right, hopefully you don't put anything else in Uranus. I'm just joking. Oh my God. Don't laugh, my mouth hurts. Oh, Linda. Sorry. Alrighty. I just barfed all over the place with your love cards. Alrighty. Don't get me excited. My mouth is still sore and I can barely open it. So we're looking at you versus you. Okay. And this could definitely be someone in your life. Okay. Wouldn't surprise me. But what we're really trying to do here is get insight in regards to your energy. You know, where have you been? Where are you going? And I'm getting this song. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Oh, yoy. Spirit, pile number 1. Help them out. What do they need to know? What was so important that my mouth needed to get involved? Okay, we're going to take the ones that flipped around here. We have, I'll read them shortly, okay? But let's just read the overall energy. It says inaction and emotional dependence. I'm going to pull one more. One more. Spirit for pile 1. Thank you so much, spirits. Yeah, I'm getting into it. Sorry. I'm battling myself here with this energy. Okay, hold on. I want those cards to fall on me. Okay. Pile number 1, spirits, them versus themselves energetically. What do they need to know about their energy right here, right now? Spirit, thank you so much. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of the collective. Tapped into pile number 1. Thank you so much, pile 1, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here. So grateful. I realize you have a lot of readers online, and I do appreciate you coming here for your readings and my shenanigans. All right. Wow. Don't look like lots of decks, but look at how many cards here. All right. This is the tarot, which I won't be pulling just yet. Okay. Or I don't know. Maybe I won't pull it. Depends what we see here. Okay. You guys can skip on the timestamp if you want to go straight away to your reading. Okay. I'm going to read these for those of you guys needing to tap into your intuition. I highly suggest it so that you know whether this is your pile or not. Okay. So we have Sin, 54 ego level in action, slowness, languor. I don't know what languor means. Inertia, laziness, indolence, procrastination. Number 9. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself. This is solar plexus energy. Okay. And we have the relationship trap, 65, stress level. Emotional dependence. Number 2, need of others is gaze, lives for others. Reliance, self-neglect, low self-esteem, toxic relationship. Type 2, the helper, emotional center between giving and receiving. This is the root chakra. And we have autonomy, 92, relational quality, growth level, listen to one's own needs, self-acceptance, self-respect, independence, true dedication, ability to receive. Type 2, the helper, emotional center between giving and receiving. Interesting because this is the polar opposite of this one. On both root chakra here, we have 2 and 2. Okay. Let's take a looky-look. We have obsession, release the chains of thought and free your mind. And then we have little tiny words that think I could read it. No, I can't read it because let me just pull it close. The fuck does that say? Hesitation? I don't know. And then it says compulsion, and then it says preoccupation. I can't read the bottom there. Sorry, maybe you can see. I can't see jack. Alrighty, so we have frustration, 79, disintegration, stress level, lesson giver, restriction, nitpick, critical, impatience, and resentment. Oh my goodness. Type 7, the enthusiast thinking center between pleasure and pain. This is the heart chakra. We have 28, defense mechanism, ego level, reaction, formation, opposition to self-impulses, lying to yourself, self-compelling, self-censorship, forcing yourself, reactions, self-control. Type 1, the perfectionist, instinctive center between control and letting go. And then we have 34, defense mechanism, ego level, rationalization, logical justification, explanation, reasoning, idolization, sublimation, and intellectualization. Type 7, enthusiast, thinking center between pleasure and pain. This reading is borderline between pleasure and pain. I'm in a funny mood. I'm trying to get it together. Okay, stability. Quest for answers, 33. 33 is a master number. Reproduction, creativity, humor, Christ consciousness, joy, and harmony. Alrighty, look at this, 33, 34. Okay, so we have some form of succession here. Okay, it says legitimacy of authority, security concept, self-confidence, loyalty concept, mental calming, finding support. Type 6, the loyalist, thinking centered between mistrust and trust. Wowzers. Is that Jesus? Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. 60, egos, pitfall, stress level, confusion, mistrust and skepticism, difficulty disengaging, fatalism, anguish and anxiety, search for evidence, need for guarantees. Number 6, type 6, the loyalist, thinking center between mistrust and trust. Okie-dokie. And we have 16, inner call with ego level, in-depth, responsibility versus pleasures, painful emotions, focusing, gratitude, fully present, relationship stability. Number 7, type 7, enthusiast, thinking center between pleasure and pain. Okay, number 7. And then we have domination, 62, egos, pitfall, stress level, power, relationships, aggressiveness, self-justice, manipulation, being an outlaw, authoritarianism, type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. Oh my goodness, who is here? Who is here? Limits, 31. And denying death, 62. 4 and 8. Okay. This is really, really going to be a challenging reading, okay? If you don't want a challenging reading, don't listen. Okay? This could be somebody in your energy field that's giving you a whole bunch of headaches. All right? What could it be you? I don't know who, but certainly cray. Alrighty, so what do we have? We have a lot of Capricorn energy with all this devil energy that I'm feeling here. Massive, massive. Pisces, Virgo, Cancer, Gemini, Leo, Aries, and heavy motherfucking Capricorn here with the devil, okay? What's going on here? I'm going to read this like it's you. And if it's a person you're dealing with, then I guess I'm yelling at the person that you're dealing with. And yeah, it might be a little bit of a yelling here because that's how I channel. So there's so much pain, okay? So much pain going on over here. And when we're in a lot of pain, everything in our wake sort of gets demolished. And we kind of feel completely out of control. And we're sort of letting the devil run the show. Okay? And that means the pain is doing the driving. And I don't necessarily know if we realize that the pain is doing the driving here. But I guess this is the thing, you know? It's like, you know, when we're a little kid and we know what we're doing is, we're at the age where we know how we're acting is sort of not liked by our parents. And then we like keep doing it more and more, like escalating it more and more. And then we like get in trouble to the point where they snap and then they beat us with their belt. Wait, that was just me. They get mad at you. Then you go and you have to sit in the corner and eventually you learn your lesson somehow, you know, but even throughout the thing that you were doing, you know, you weren't supposed to sort of be doing it, but you really didn't have any control, right? Like you really didn't, because that's your maturity level or growth level in that thing. And I don't know, it's almost like you just sort of grow out of that. And I don't know, is that spirit? Is that growth? Is that what? I don't know. I can't tell you what that is, you know, because in that state, it's not like a child becomes conscious all of a sudden, you know, but then at a certain point in life, it's like we just know that that wasn't, I don't know, that didn't really represent who we truly were, you know? So why did we do it? It must have been to get some form of love, you know, or some form of reaction from the parent, or we really truly thought we were that bad kid, you know? And so whatever we were doing is like, I can't be better than this, you know? Like almost like proving your parents how horrible of a child you really are, you know? It's like, this is really what's going on with me. And, you know, almost like trying to break the bond between you and your parent, like they're going to ship you off somewhere because they can't take care of you because you're such a brat. You know what I'm saying? So there is this dependence on other people in order to make us feel better, because there's a lot of hurt here and we're going about it very destructive. And so there's a lot of emphasis here on how we utilize our own inner power and when we pull on other people's. And I think that we're utilizing other people to maybe give us strength or power or validate certain parts of us. And it will be a forever chase. And why it's a forever chase is because it's only a matter of time before we escalate something where people, will not like it and then not mirror back to us our full value. Or we just keep escalating the challenging way that we are in order to get disowned. Because subconsciously it's like, would you love me at my worst type energy here. And so there's really a need to find the inner self through a healing process. And the healing process, it starts with being very honest. And so I feel like it's easier for us to just lie to ourselves, but then we stay in a state of suffering. And I feel like once we slip, or like give into the devil, so to speak, it's like we beat ourselves while we're down and we do more of that. And I think at that point we have a choice. Do we choose the devil or do we choose the higher path? And I think we keep choosing the devil. Whoever I'm reading here is in a heavy dance with the devil. And really gives into impulses and really gives into maybe even pleasures here of immediate gratification to soothe that pain that's really, really, really crying out. And instead of doing something about this, I feel like this person isn't doing anything that's helping this pain. Rather, this person is sort of putting fuel on the fire, so to speak. So this person surrounds themselves with toxic people or toxic relationships, or completely neglects themselves in a way here that reflects back to them a world that they feel they're deserving of, which is really a shit-ass environment, And they're learning to find their own self-respect, their own strength, and true, healing and freedom once they tap into that part of themselves. So this person might be very wishy-washy when it comes to I'm getting two sort of like worst case scenario and then like more of a watered down version. The worst case scenario here is constantly escalating the devil. So this isn't just like doing something and then regretting it. This is like doing something, and if I don't get like completely annihilated, I go and I do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again towards the destruction. And then I am in some form of in denial because there's rationalizing or justifying that I'm deserving of that sort of world or that I don't deserve anything better. So that's very sad. And spirit is really talking about, because this isn't about dwelling in the pain of that. This is more about like, what are you being called to do? And like, what's sort of the guidance here? And this is really welcoming change and understanding your own sort of limits that are from not coming from the pain body. Okay. And then the watered down version of this person, it's like, I surround myself with people here who are really toxic. And I justify this, and I'm in sort of a state of like perpetual, it's like an in denial here, and I can't really trust myself to make decisions away from these types of people. And I get a lot of frustration from like these people, and it's like it's ruling and controlling my life, because it's like what those people do or what they say or any of this is like has more control than my own autonomy, my own ability to like do different, you know. But in both cases, it's like we're giving away your power. One seems more like, well, they're both giving away the power to the pain, but I feel like one energy, the more watered down energy, is like their pain body is making them sort of outsource their happiness to like the people and the situations and circumstances around them, even though they see it's not for their highest or aligned with themselves, and they could see this, but they're doing it and they don't know why. It's the pain body. And the other version of like the worst case scenario here is like, oh, they know why they're really hurting, and they're just like bringing everyone down with them. And it's like, instead of like taking action towards getting out of this, it's like they think they deserve to sit here. And it's like, the more I don't do anything about this, the more it's like reflective that I deserve to sit here and suffer with, like, right down to addictions and abuse, you know. And it's self-abuse here, because we're neglecting our own self. And so there's like a failure to understand even how to be respectable to others. We have no concept of like loyalty and commitment and true like dedication to other, because we don't have it within self. And there's like this pessimistic energy of like not trusting anyone or anything. And so we might shut down. There's a lot of like just shutting down, you know? This is a really difficult energy that I'm tapped into here, like massive. And so there's this fixation. And fixations are generally the cause of our suffering, because we have created an understanding which is really tapped into our mind about who we are and what we deserve. And we believe it so strongly because our brain has been wired to repeat that thought or that self-speak or that belief. And it's so integrated into who we think we are, our identity, that to break this would be to change sort of the neurons in our brain, which is very difficult because, like I always talk about here, the inertia of thought, when it becomes very strong, it's out of our control. Thoughts will keep coming in, you know, when we have obsessive thoughts. They just sort of keep coming to us. We don't have like a book where we're selecting which thought comes to us, when it comes to us, how it comes to us. It's just the thought comes, the thought comes, the thought comes. And so we can't resist the thought, but we can certainly be aware of the thought. And we could choose in that moment to either feed that thought, throw more gasoline on that thought, stay stuck and fixated on that thought, or acknowledge that the thought is there, and every moment sort of shift our energy towards understanding it is an untrue belief. No matter how intense it feels, it isn't the truth, because we're all children of God here. And so if we're making choices that we wouldn't want the child of God to experience, then why are we doing it? At the end of the day, it's because there's a lack of self-love here, okay? There's a lack of self-love at the end of the day. And it's really stemmed from the pain we experienced in the past. And I'm very sorry that you experienced suffering, most likely in childhood here, I'm seeing. And so right now, I feel like this person, whoever I'm tapped into here, just take it as it resonates. We might have an obsession with something. It could be really fixated on an addiction, or we could be really fixated on a relationship, or we could be really fixated and obsessed on something in this moment or someone this moment in time. And this thing that we have, this relationship we have to this whatever, drug, person, place, because it's a very strong attachment we have here, has nothing to do with what's really going on. We're really not addicted to that substance. We're really not addicted to that person or obsessed with that person. What our shadow is showing and bringing up here is there's a need to look at the wounded child inside. And so this addiction and this obsession keeps ramping up because the inner child's coming out, say, hey, take a look, take a listen, stop covering this up with something else in your world right now, because whatever's going on in your world right now has nothing to do with the root cause of why you're doing this. There's a root cause here that's being swept over. And I feel like we're rationalizing our behaviors by being a little bit of in denial and mixed with a belief of sorts, like I said, a fixation or a reasoning of why we deserve to stay there or why we should continue to feed that world longer or more or something like this. So I feel like this person is on some other sort of planet here and has a very difficult time being fully present with reality. And so this would make sense why we would, choose an addiction, because we're sort of drifting off into some other realm, or we're fixated on a person because if we had to deal with reality in our life, it's like we'd have to make changes and see and accept certain honest truths about ourselves. So this person feels very unstable and feels very much, like I said, is like they have more power than they think, but they're outsourcing this power to whatever this fixation is. And then on top of it, I don't feel this person is proactively knowing that they can do anything about it, or don't feel like there should be anything they could do about it, because Spirit's really showing, like, as long as the belief and that fixation and that thought pattern, like I said, in the neuron is there, it's what's feeding this person the thought that they can't do anything, or there shouldn't be anything that they can do, that this is just the way it is, or the way that it has to be. And it's like this rationalization of justification, which is untrue. That's the pain body talking. It's coming from an untrue place. And so we see stability here, relationship stability, okay, and like true dedication and listening to one's needs. And this is butted up against living for others, other things, self-neglect, low self-esteem. Okay, it's like, and then we're impatient and we have resentment, lying to self, self-censorship, forcing ourselves. And it's like we're giving into these reactions here. So this person is acting completely out of shadow and trauma. And this need for guarantees, it's almost like in this type of an energy, there is no guarantee that will make this person trust. It's like, what's the right word here? They lack self-trust in their own ability, of course, because they're not taking any action here, and decision-making is sort of not good. So, of course, they can't really trust their own decision-making. They have a difficult time, believing or trusting that anyone could be authentic or mean them well, even, and so there's like an instant trigger. Like if we feel threatened by even someone maybe meaning well, it's like the threat mechanism fires up. And it's like this person's guarantee would be a peaceful, sort of perfect partner or world or something here that like looks perfect. And it's like, well, life is not ever going to be perfect. And so if something goes a little askew in this person's world, it's like they automatically assume the worst and shut down. And this is all about this like low self-esteem. It's like, see, this is exactly the reason why I'm like a failure, or it doesn't work, or like this is the evidence I needed to tell me that I'm not worthy or good enough. But it's like it's hindering on like an unrealistic world. You know, it's kind of like I used to work with people sort of like this because I used to mentor a lot of people and they were fairly young. Well, most of them were like my age, but it just seemed like they were fairly inexperienced or young when it came to like, um, I don't know, like jobs, I guess. And I don't know if it's because I had so many jobs. I just felt like when I would give like, you know, pretty straightforward like advice, which might sound kind of like criticism. And it was really coming from a place of like delivering criticism, you know, from a factual sort of place. I felt a lot of times I could tell like the people who or had this sort of energy where it was like more defensive rather than hearing what it was that I was trying to communicate, which had nothing to do with them and all had to do with processes. And they would not understand this and they would take it personal, you know? And I know there's lots of people who just take things kind of personal here, but it was like, you know, there were younger people. And then the older I obviously became, the more it's like, I didn't encounter so many of these types of people. I feel this is really an immaturity here, but it's not like to poke fun, oh, you're immature. It's like this person got stunted at a certain age whenever this trauma happened. And I feel is very, very young. And so this stunting of growth is the inner child that's trapped in there. And so what happens is like we shut down at that age and that point in time when the trauma happens and it stays fixed there. And so any thing that reflects that or has an iota of an experience of that. So if it was criticism, if it was some word or some thing that makes that inner child feel like they're going back to that place, it's like that defense mechanism kicks in. And so there's like psychologists that talk about people who, you know, are doing inner child healing. And it's like when they touch on that trauma, that person will literally, no matter how old they are, go into like fetal position, you know, or like that they start talking like that child at that point. If they were 6 years old or 10 years old or whatever age they were at, it's like that's where this person left off, whatever age this is. And so I feel like that's why that part of that brain can't develop past that part of the brain. And so I feel like there's this trigger of defenses. It's like if you're trying to give like honest maybe feedback, even they can't take it, but then they also can't take love and acceptance in a way here because they don't feel worthy. And so if we don't feel worthy, it's like it's never enough, you know? And so that's like the worst case scenario. And like best case scenario, it's like if this person does get love, unlike that you know, that person who's out seeking for other people to be like their source of happiness, it's like this type of an energy would never get fully fulfilled. It's like they would need more time and need more love and like maybe even like multiple people, you know. It's like I need this from everyone in my life. Like I need to be accepted and loved by everyone that I choose to. And so it's this hole in the bucket that never gets filled. So it kicks back to, regardless of what degree this trauma is at, it's the point that we don't love self and the love isn't generated and cultivated from self. And so there is this like lack of trust in people's words and whether they mean well or not. And so even if they're trying to give us, you know, helpful advice or try to support us, it's like, no, like it's beyond this person even trusting. It doesn't even matter like if it's a loving parent or a loving partner or a loving friend. It's like this person automatically comes in with their reckless thoughts, you know, destructive thoughts. So I do feel like with this domination, this comes in two ways, because I do feel like for the worst case scenario, this person tries to force, and they have very much power dynamics with other people, and they could be very aggressive and manipulate and do this sort of thing, you know, and they have trouble with people telling them what to do in authority. And no one should tell anyone what to do. Okay, because no one has power over you. And so, but then this person is like, has an unhealthy relationship with autonomy and authority because they think everyone's a challenge and everything's trying to challenge them. Meanwhile, it's like, that's not the reality. That's just their unhealed version. And like in the best case scenario, it's like the other person allows people to sort of boss them around and like take control of decisions in their world, and they lack autonomy and making their own decisions and choices in their own voice and saying, well, that's not what's in my best interest here. because they don't know what's in their best interest. So they're leaving that to other people, you know? So right here, I feel like there is a massive change in this person's world that is being, I don't know if I said Scorpio, but Scorpio's coming through now as well. Sorry. And Aquarius. I don't know if I said that too. Okay. I don't think I did, but it's coming through. There's a need to release this pain. And the only way we can release the pain is to sit in it and be honest with it and work through it. I feel like this type of energy too is maybe somebody who really, really is not ambitious in any sort of way to make more of themselves or have more for themselves. So they're sort of stuck in this victim mindset that this is the most they can accomplish. This is the most for me, you know, and then they might have a very difficult time making decisions. And it's like life beats on this person rather than this person being in charge of making decisions. And then it just sort of proves their own theory right. It's like the self-fulfilling prophecy, because when we don't make decisions or in control, it's like, of course, there will be other shadowed people making decisions around us that's for their best interest. And so it just perpetuates this, I don't trust other people. But it's like, no, like, unless they're surrounded by a bunch of people that love them, which they'd be lucky to, they still don't see that, because then they're still sort of just letting life pass them by here, you know, letting it fall on other people and not taking aim and agency over things they can have control over, because there is a lot of frustration with themselves. There's a lot of inner conflict. There's a lot of this stuff, you know, like a lot. I think this person knows that what they're doing here isn't for their highest good. And I think that they're really in denial state of continuing up this charade for whatever reason, because when we finally admit something here, the impacts of everything we've sort of done becomes a truth, and we might not be wanting to carry that burden or that heaviness, that our actions for who knows how long we've been invested in the destructive path becomes very clear that we chose to do this. It wasn't what we thought where everyone else was bad or where we were under the influence of something that had control over us and we couldn't break out and all this stuff. It's like, yes, if there are addictions, you know, those are definitely things that happen, but people break out of addictions all the time. And people break out of abusive situations all the time. You know, and this isn't victim blaming and shaming, because our life is sort of in the hands of the divine. And so the divine knows what journey lessons and when we hit our sort of limits here. But for us to say mine is different, you know, and I'm incapable of doing what other people might have been able to do to break out of victim situations and circumstances, you know, but that's not going to help this person, because this person will just compare that and feel worse about themselves. Like, I have no agency. I have no control. I'm like worse than the worst and the worst. Like, this is really, really not a good reading here. And now my head is hurting. I don't want to do this reading no more. Why are we seeing this, Spirit? What's helpful then here? Why are we seeing this, Spirit? What does pile 1 need to know about this? You know, we could be very confused as to dealing with someone like this, or this is our own energy and we're completely confused. That is a truth here, but why we're confused is because there is a state of in denial here happening in this pile for sure. There's a great truth here and we're needing to see it. And the only way we can ever get our power back is first to admit the truth, period. End of story. Break illusions, no excuses. It doesn't matter if you've been in this forever. It doesn't matter if you want to convince yourself as to the whys or the whos or the hows. There's an honest truth here. And this honest truth needs to be spoken and accepted. That's it. And everything will get better from there. It might be rocky, it might be rough, but if we're not dealing with truths, this can just stay here, you know? This can stay here for who knows how long. Yeah. And maybe you broke out of this. Maybe you hit your limit. It's like, I hit my limit now, you know? And 4 is all about structure, stability, and planning. But when we're in a 4 state, that's like what the world we know. It's kind of giving me like that comfort zone or what's familiar. Suffering is familiar. Victimization is my friend because I know it. Whereas this is like release of that stagnation, release of what doesn't serve us. And so we might be really clinging to what we know because the healthy version of us, we don't know. Spirit, why are we seeing this? What is this all about? The devil. Devil, Capricorn energy, which was really, really, really pulled through here. Look at the wolf and the lamb. So like I said, there's like a victim and there's like a perpetrator, you know, but both are really sort of victims here. But I feel like there's a dominating energy and then there's like, you know, and this could be like one version of ourself and then the other version of ourself. Like there's like a lamb here, an innocent child here, the inner child, but the wolf has control right now. Wow. Devil. Okay, Capricorn energy. But Spirit, why are we seeing this then? What is the guidance and the advice? Wow, one went flying. Eight of Cups. I need to walk away. Yeah, well, I think you know this. Maybe you walked away from someone like this, you know? That's difficult to do. We don't want to leave people in their suffering. That's like we have to choose self. And it's like this person has a bandana around their mouth because they have a long trek here in the treacherous sort of sandstorm. And like, yeah, it's like they have to protect themselves, you know? And like this person's mouth is covered. So what are we like not talking? Maybe we're not talking about this. We're not admitting something. Maybe we're in like a no contact situation. Or we don't want to speak some form of truth, maybe. What is this walking away? 9 swords. Yeah, there's lots of anxiety here. This could be a depression, you know. This is definitely this fixation, this obsession in the mind. Again, the neurons firing with that same thought, over and over and over. This thought is not going to go away. Now, the good news is you're not your mind. You're not those thoughts. It feels very real when you're in your head, but you're everywhere outside of your mind as well. But you have to tap into it. So a practice you can certainly do is tap into the heart space, which takes meditation and practice. But once you go to that safe place, you can get out of your mind. And the more you do this, the more you could rest in the heart, rest in the breath, not get lost in the thought, you know. But the thoughts firing here, lots of anxiety. This could also be a dark night of the soul. So we could definitely have somebody who's like sitting there reflecting, looking at their devil, and this devil seems very real. It has a hold of us, but we know that the devil is just an illusion. It's the shadow self. It's the part of self that we need to cast the light on. So a lot of this energy now I'm getting is like dealing with someone like this because we're walking away. Because what I feel is if you are the one that's really heavy in this sort of suffering, there's a need to not walk away, but to look at the devil. But yes, definitely walk away from what's destructive, but not abandon it so much as to look at it. And that doesn't mean like think about the stories that make us scared or give us fear or create anxiety, or justification or validation in the mind, or try to make sense of it logically. That's not going to help. This sort of a devil, we have to feel into it. This is all about allowing feelings to flow, acceptance of how we feel, not trying to justify, rationalize, and come up with stories. That's just going to make us feel like crap. And not denying and walking away. I mean, of course, if this is someone else's energy, yeah, definitely walk away from someone else's devil. You can't fix someone's devil, especially if they're not willing to look at their own devil. All right. Yeah, judgment. Oh my goodness. Someone has to look at the devil. They're being called to admit truths. Judgment is all about looking at our past situations, everything that's transpired up until this point. It's the point of a reckoning here, you know, when we're kind of at the pivotal point of making a different decision for ourselves because we're sitting with God, and we got to come up with a different way. And so we can either see this and accept it and be honest, or we can stay in denial and repeat patterns. But this is really giving me, with this light here, a truth being revealed, being understood, falling right under this devil. The King of Pentacles. So this is more Capricorn energy, Virgo, Taurus. But this would definitely be this energy that this person needs to encompass with stability. This is the most stable king, you know? And this is finding their own support from within. And here we have legitimacy of authority, security concept, self-control, loyalty concept, mental calming, which would help this, and finding support. Okay, because I do feel like this person, yeah, like true dedication, ability to receive. That's this energy. I do feel like this person's been in an energy here that's been opposite of this. Yeah. An inability to be reliable and strong and like solid and commit to their healing, commit to the health of themselves and relationships and other people, and give into that sort of other energy here. Okay, so why is there 9 swords? The 5 of swords. Yeah, conflict with others. So, I mean, these blue jays, bluebirds, I don't know. 5 swords. One of the more challenging cards here in the tarot is the 5 swords, and that's about the Magician, Virgo and Gemini. Okay, so the 5 swords is about a sabotage. And that's that analogy I gave about the child sort of being bad in the car, you know, making everyone's life, did I say in the car? I don't know. I know I'm saying in the car. The child who like acts up with the parents. I don't know. I got a vision of someone in a car here. Okay. But it's like, this is where there's an external factor that comes into play. It's not between two people. It's really other person, situation, circumstance that gets in the way of a relationship or a dynamic. And it creates conflict here where nobody wins. And so this is really a no-win situation in which both people or relationship or situation, whatever this is, are at a loss here. And potentially someone's right up in their head about looking at the relationship dynamic. You know, what happened? What could I have done? What could I have said? Why did it go this way? Or how can I fix it? Or whatever, if they are feeling bad or guilt in some sort of way. And Spirit's saying, none of this isn't helping anything. It's not. Because we're really dealing with a devil. And the devil is that third energy that's coming in with this 5 swords. This is what needs to get looked at and dealt with honestly. That's what needs to get understood completely. But if we're focused on more of this, it's not really healing the root. It's not dealing with the main issue here that created this situation in the first place. So this is kind of like a Band-Aid. If we come up with something, let's say we rationalize in the 9 swords, something makes sense to us, and then we're able to, I don't know, maybe come up with some form of fix or story that helps ease the situation, helps bring people into balance. It's only a matter of time before this falls apart again, because somebody here needs to be more in this King of Pentacles type energy, which happens over time. A King of Pentacles is an energy that happens over time. They have agency over themselves. They're solid. They're able to commit. They're reliable, and they've built themselves to be a secure person. The only way to do this is for them to acknowledge and deal with their devils. Toxic ways, patterns, unhealthy mindsets. And here there could definitely be just a mindset of I'm not good enough, low self-esteem and self-neglect in that world. And they have to look at this and know that it is just a childhood trauma that's keeping them believing this, and it's getting in the way of them showing up and in a connection, or committing to a connection, or being reliable to someone else in a connection. So there's a walking away. And I don't know if you walked away or this person, but there might be a lot of anxiety around this, maybe feeling abandoned. Why did this person walk away? Or feeling bad about walking away, or like there's a lot of this sort of energy, and Spirit is saying this isn't really the issue. The issue is looking at this devil. That's the main issue here. So we have Magician, which is all about divine timing, and also about having all the tools within us to create what we want to create here in the 3D world. It is within our power what we manifest. So what we say to ourselves and believe, that's what we create. So Spirit's really coming through saying, like, if we keep seeing devils, it's because we're creating the devils. It's not the world dishing us out the devil. And so Spirit's saying, like, you're going to manifest based on what you're telling yourself. And so if you're telling yourself fantasy and untruths, then you create more of the suffering sort of situation here. So there's a need to be honest. This is also the communication card. Okay. And so maybe there's this, like I said, I was seeing this mouth being covered, and maybe we haven't been able to speak our truth. And so if we feel like we haven't been able to speak our truth, we're being encouraged to allow ourselves to speak our truth, which will help in the manifestation of a more honest future. But we need to identify where there's the devil coming out, or is it like an actual inner truth that we were suppressing or not wanting to acknowledge here? So yeah, there's no need sort of sitting in a 9 swords. This doesn't help anything, wallowing in this is like looking at a future potential of something that we're anticipating. It never comes because the future is never here. It's always in the distant future. So it could forever be pushed out. And so the right here, right now, present moment, which was really being pulled by one of these, I forget which one, fully present. The present moment is now. It's not out in the future, or we could be really looking back on the past with this as well. Everything I said, everything I did, feeling bad about it, but we're not present. And I think there's a lot of heavy anxiety around getting along and what we've done, or how something went, or the conflict between a no-win situation here. And we're too focused on this thing. Spirit keeps kicking it back to this. Okay, so look, we have a major, and a major arcana. The universe is dishing this out in a way for us to really be honest. So I do feel like there might be a little bit more here that might help, because I don't know that I'm telling you anything you don't know, but I think we don't believe it. That's the thing. It's like the Magician says, you have everything within you. Like there's nothing that you're going to get from another. Nothing's going to fall from the sky. Nothing's going to change. There is no definitely you can pray. You could pray for strength here, but I feel like Spirit's really talking about you already have the strength. Spirit's already blessed you with the strength. You're not going to get any more from Spirit here that isn't already within you. You're either denying it, suppressing it, not seeing it, or like thinking it's not in there and it's going to come in a future date or something like this. It's like, no, it's not going to come in a future date. It's already here. What do we have? We have the 6 swords and the world. Yeah, moving away and closing a chapter. I think that's it, you guys. Look, the lovers. Oh my goodness. The lovers. What's this now? And the fool. Okay. Gemini, Aquarius. Spirit's really talking about a slow journey out of suffering and that 5 swords. We've experienced a 5 swords. Okay, I don't know if we were the giver of the 5 swords or the receiver of the 5 swords, but it really doesn't matter because nobody won, and it was coming from an inauthentic place, not a loving place. It was coming from the pain body. And I feel like Spirit is really talking about moving on to calmer waters from that place. That is the only way to conclude and close out something once and for all successfully, not to engage in that, and to really allow ourselves to move forward and close something out once and for all. Then there's a choice to have a new beginning. and which path we want to go down. Because the Lovers is all about a choice. But choices have to be made consciously. And if we're in so much pain and suffering, we're not conscious. We're letting, again, the subconscious drive our actions because we're in so much hurt. Like I said, the child, they don't even have any control. They're just out kicking and being stubborn. It's like if we want to make a choice, which partner we want to go be with or which path we want to go deal with it. We're being called. This is about destiny and our path, our dharma, our person, our way forward for our next chapter in life. We have to close one. And in order to open this path and make this choice, spiritually saying it has to be from a place of no baggage. This is a baggage card, or we bring those 5 swords. It's like we got to leave the 5 swords behind. And we have to come in completely reborn, not knowing where we're going, into the unknown and saying, you know what, I'm going to make this choice. But if I do choose this, I can't bring in anything of the past. I have to come in sort of trusting the unknown, trusting the divine, putting everything behind me. That is what success looks like here, That's going to bring in the right people, the right path that feels aligned to you. It's not going to feel forced. It's not going to feel like 9 swords. It's not going to feel like anything, anxiety, or like someone's like beating you into submission or you feel you need to control anything or that sort of thing. It's like we have to accept the death. The death is the release. The death is not hanging on to what should have been released a long time ago. Okay, death. And then we get this closure here. And this is successful closure. It's a phase in our world where we close out here. I see happiness here, I see you aligning with the right path and letting everything sort of go. Don't carry anything that's not yours. So this is your reading. I don't know that I helped you. If I got to be honest, this made me feel like shit, but I wish you the very best. And I don't know. I hope this helped you, All right. I love you very much. Pile number 1. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, gorgeous angel. Pile number 2. You guys picked card 30 with Venus, Mars. And we're looking at you versus yourself. Okay. Could be strongest energy around you. If it's not you, then it's someone you're around, your situation. Take it into context. If you don't want to hear from this person, go to another pile. Okay. So let's take a look. We're going to pull the cards here before we start to channel what this energy is all about. Doing this one first. Let's take a look. Spirit, for pile number 2, we're looking at pile number 2, their energy, guidance, them versus themselves. Give them some understanding of what's going on in their world. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of beautiful pile number 2. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. Thank you so much for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. We have being untroubled. That's just flipped over. All right, Spirit, pile number 2. And what is the energy going on with pile number 2? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. They need to hear right now. Now, I do apologize if I sound a little funny. My mouth's a little frozen from the dentist, and I'm not feeling very good. So I might be a little off or drained in some capacity. Pile number 2, Spirit. Going on with pile number 2 energetically. Thank you so much. Be called to pull one more of these. Okay. And then we have the tarot, which we'll use shortly. So you can skip ahead if you want. I'll put the timestamp below. We have Venus, Mars. So Venus, ruling planet for Taurus, Libra, and Mars, ruling planet for Aries, Scorpio, 30, or the number 3. So there's different stages here. I don't know which we're at just yet. We'll see. We'll see how balanced you are here. Okay, so we have the veil of ignorance. Number 9, ego level, being untroubled. Need for harmony, stubbornness, inertia. Anesthesia, self-forgetfulness, conflict avoidance. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself with the yellow ray, which is our solar plexus. 41, neutral event, ego level, celibacy. Without commitment, solitude, virgin, chastity. Widower, private occupation. Number 5. Type 5, the observer, thinking center between interior and exterior. Blue ray, which is your throat chakra. We have 66, relationship trap, stress level. 66 is a master number. Service is a source of joy, in which one pours from an overflowing cup, not martyrdom, which is kind of coming through with this conflict avoidance. A need for harmony. Yeah. Okay. Appearances, getting noticed, showing off, parading, dazzling, flashiness, loves to impress. That's this in the shadow. Type 3, the achiever, emotional center between appearance and authenticity. Number 3. And then we have control. By letting go of the illusion of control, we open ourselves to genuine freedom, domination, manipulation, and power. I don't know how I read that at the bottom here. I couldn't read it for pile 1. And this font is so light, and this print is very not good. Not good. Alrighty. Rational quality, 99. So 99 is also a master number. Being the change you wish to see and helping humanity release what no longer works. Self-assertiveness, respect one's own limits. Determination, self-presence, decisiveness, personal power, personal competencies. Sorry, but that's competitiveness. Competencies, number 9. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself. More solar plexus energy here with all that yellow. Let's take a look at this. 66. You guys, what are the chances? And look, this is like that and like reverse. That's cray. 66. Service is in which one pours from an overflowing cup, not martyrdom. So what? We got to fill our own cup. Love self, not murder ourselves. Okay, so what do we have here? Initiatory ordeal, stress level, betrayal, altered exterior image, falsehood and lies, failure, humiliation, social decline. Career inactivity. Type 3, the achiever, emotional center between appearing and authenticity. Career inactivity. I didn't even know that was a thing. I think that's my thing. Solar plexus energy. Oh my gosh, you guys, what are you guys, the sun? What's going on over here? Spiritual practice, 45, ego level, baptism, contemplative prayer, spiritual singing. Tai Chi, mindfulness, meditation in nature, repetition of mantras. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting one's self. So we have, like forgetting and asserting oneself in these 3 cards. And then we have appearance and authenticity in those 2 because it's darker yellow. It's all solar plexus stuff though. Okay. So we have 43, fixation. Ego level, planning, escape routes, inventiveness, possibilities, projects, imagination, and improvisation. Number 7, type 7, enthusiast, thinking center between pleasure and pain. And we have 41, fixation, ego level, solitude, preservation, isolation, cocoon, solitary, protection, and withdrawal. Type 5, the observer, thinking center between interior and exterior. Number 5, I'm getting hermit energy. I'm actually getting my own energy. Look at that, 41, you guys. Celibacy and solitude. Wowzers, 41 twice. Okie dokie. And we have 29, defense mechanism, ego level, discharge, awareness, refusal, self-forgetfulness, inhibition, self-censorship, needs suppression, unconscious prohibition. 2, type 2, the helper, emotional center between giving and receiving. Root chakra. And we have 19, avoidance, ego level, anger, losing control, annoying, pleasure, mistaking, impulsiveness, personal desires. Number 1, the perfectionist, instinctive center between control and letting go. All right, some passive aggressiveness here, I see. And we have 37, spiritual practice, ego level. Confession, alignment practice, ethical leadership, repentance, ecological action, purification ritual, philosophical circle. Type 1, the perfectionist instinctive center between control and letting go. Number 1, 1, 999, 3355, and 7 and 2. Alrighty. Number 9 again, the bubble. Okay, this is the reverse hangman. Really fixated on our own point of view. And here we have separation, 24, or the number 6. 6 is lovers. So what do we have here? We have Taurus, Sagittarius, Cancer, Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Taurus, Libra, and Virgo, Cancer, Pisces. Okay. And yeah, that's what we have here. Okay, let me tap into this whole thing. Okay, this is interesting energy here, you guys. I feel like you guys were betrayed. You feel betrayed, whether you were or not. And jury's still sort of out, because no one can really betray you so much as people could just do what they do. And we could take it however we take it, This isn't minimizing anything, because I do feel like you've gone through something and maybe someone was behaving poorly. But someone behaving poorly has absolutely nothing to do with you and your self-worth. Period. End of story. Okay? But I know when we're in it, it doesn't feel this way. I feel like we experienced something, and the only reason why we'd be suffering is because in the shadow, there's a need for outcome with this control. And so if we have an idea, a fixed idea of what we want, need, have to attain in our mind that looks like it's success, we do whatever it takes in order to achieve that. And we are actually trying to control outcome. And that's the suffering. Okay, so when we experience suffering in the hands of ego, which, by the way, this whole freaking solar plexus area is really crying out ego, 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 ego. Okay, this is the type of energy here that's like really clinging to make something happen, because there's a fear if it doesn't happen. What would that mean? What would that tell me of myself, And so we might put a lot of weight into other people's approvals of us, or how successful we are, or our value is really predicated on what reflects back to me, essentially at the end of the day. And so anytime we're suffering in the state of maybe anxiety, anticipation, that's a form of even a fear here. We know, or we can ask ourselves, what sort of outcome am I attaching to? I'm attaching to an outcome here. This is why I'm suffering. And we have to keep bringing ourselves back to that story we tell ourselves, that we have any control in that outcome, and that we don't trust the divine to unfold as it does, that our best interest is in the hands of the divine, and tell ourselves that, oh yeah, silly me. I thought that outcome was the be all end all. But I've learned from the past that attaching to an outcome and getting that outcome doesn't bring me happiness. It doesn't, because then the next fixation on outcome happens, and then the next fixation on outcome happens, and so on and so forth. This is almost like wanting to get a promotion and being really attached to that promotion, so much so, and doing whatever, because it reflects how worthy I am, or how knowledgeable I am, or how experienced I am to get this. And so you're really attached, and when you don't get it, it's like devastating, It's so devastating. It's because we were really attached to that outcome. And when we get it, it's like, then we're on to the next thing. It's like we stay on that mountaintop for all of, like I always say, a ham sandwich. And then there's always a better roll or more money or a shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's that ego hamster wheel that when we're at work and we're thinking about lunch break, and then lunch break comes and we're like thinking about like after work, and then after work comes and we're thinking about like, when work's going to be done the next day, or we're thinking about vacation. And this is really living in the future and thinking that we're a doer and that we have any control over outcome. And it's like, yes, we can do what we can in the moment. This isn't saying just like, like let life pass you by. But this is really about when we understand our ego and we let go of this, our actions become more in line with heart center, and they're more in line with truths. And they don't create this suffering because we no longer get attached. We know that that attachment that we have is the cause of the suffering. Because when it doesn't work out, it's like we're telling ourselves a story that's untrue. And so I think that you had a story, or may still have a story, I don't know which it is, that you're trying to prove to yourself. If only when me and this person gets together and live happily ever after, will I be happy? If only when I get this job, I'll be happy. If only when I XYZ, fill in the blank. And we're concocting and planning or doing whatever we can here. And there's a passive aggressiveness here. And I think what Spirit's really talking about here is Spirit really not aligning you with this thing for a good reason. Not to torture you, not to make you feel unworthy, but for you to understand this and see this about yourself. But I feel like instead of accepting, we might double down and want to prove ourselves more. There's this anger here, okay? We didn't get what we wanted, and so we're annoyed. There's a passive aggressiveness here. And I feel like whatever you were trying to do here to gain this thing, I feel was at your own expense, because I feel a heavy martyrdom. It's like, I'll just, I don't know, like stand on one foot and like bend over like a pretzel and like do all this stuff. It's like, if you got to do that, it's not for you. It's a heaviness here. And we might have not have wanted to accept the fact that it wasn't for us, or that it was like not aligned for our highest good. Or if it is aligned, that the Spirit will align it in divine timing, not in ego's timing. And I feel like maybe we went through this and we felt very betrayed because it didn't work out. And so I don't know how we're sitting right now. Either we're sitting and wallowing, or we're sitting saying, I never want to go after, apply for any other job, or I'm unworthy of any relationship here because I've been betrayed, or people are just out to get me, or I'm too good for a relationship because everyone's like backstabbing, or I'm not good enough for a relationship, so I might as well be single and just, I'm seeing separation and celibacy. So it's like, and that's fine. If we're living through a phase of disappointment, we go through phases, we're disappointed. It's not like all of a sudden we feel like we got to go date or something like this, But I feel like we're taking something very personal and very hard because of a mindset that we're telling ourselves that is actually untrue. And so we might stay in this like recluse energy, or this like, I'm not wanting anyone or anything at this point in time because fill in the blank. And so that's a form of anger, We're mad at ourselves. It didn't work. We're mad at that person because they didn't see our value, or we're just, I don't know, whatever this energy is low vibration. That's all I have to say. And we're worthy of sitting in a low vibrational energy because it's a part of life. So we can't resist and say, I got to be high vibe, high vibes only. Like, no, that's toxic positivity and that's spiritual bypassing. So what are we sitting with here? But then the sooner we sort of peel back the truth and see that we're telling ourselves an untruth, the faster we can heal. And I think this big untruth here is whatever story you're attached to telling yourself of why this didn't work, I think you're really sort of attributing it to your own failure or your own like there's some part of you that you think was the reason that this did not work or could not work. And Spirit's saying that's far from the truth. And so I don't know if you even got closure here. I'm seeing confession here, and I do feel if we feel betrayed, it's like we might really tell ourselves, I'll only be good when I get closure, or only, I don't know, whatever that story goes. And Spirit's saying, no, that's just going to control over your state of mind. And so to just say, just be untroubled by this might be difficult to say, well, how can I just be untroubled? And Spirit's talking about the only way we can really be untroubled is to really cut through any illusion and any story that we're telling that's untrue about why this didn't happen or why it wasn't successful in the way we think it was needed to be successful. Because this isn't about success and not success, attainment and not attainment. And when we're seeing it like that, we're still stuck in duality. Good, bad, them, me. And that's not what this is. There is just being in reality. And reality is saying certain things are meant for you and certain things are not. And it doesn't matter how good we are, how much we want it, or how fixed we are on it, or what we can do about it. It's either going to work because Spirit has it aligned or not, period, end of story. And we don't control Spirit. We might think we do because we like to believe in that little I, that identity, It's like I have the ability to be in control of my life. And that is, when we first start getting into spirituality, that is that law of attraction, which there's nothing wrong with the introduction to spirituality, where we're the creator of our reality. And the more we think positive, the more it's most likely it's going to come, and it's like, well, it definitely gets us out of negative state, but that isn't really a full truth of spirituality. And people who have been on this journey for a while know that Spirit and the divine is unfolding in front of us as it does. It's going to, and we have no impact over any of that. We can make decisions based on how the Spirit unfolds in front of us, for sure, but you can't control weather, tsunamis, other people's karmas, and it's going to unfold in front of you. And so you have a choice to either work with that in a way that minimizes your suffering, and make decisions within that sort of unfolding, but you can't coerce yourself in a direction that Spirit isn't aligned with. No, that would be egotistical for us to think the little I has control over the divine. And then to beat ourselves up because it didn't work or because I couldn't give enough to the situation to change it. And so I feel like there's a need for us to maybe level up spiritually is really what I feel here, because we might be sort of on the entry level of spirituality here and have a false understanding of how it works. If I'm positive enough, if I have positive affirmation, if I repeat this enough, or if I truly feel it because I want it, because there's no doubt you really want this thing, you believe that it should have come. But now we're going to land really hard because Spirit's saying, no, Spirit knows you wanted this thing. Spirit knows you were devoted or overly committed or invested here. It's a for sure. There's no question about this. There's also no question whether you're worthy or unworthy. That's not even what this is about. This whole thing is about aligning yourself with the future that's made for you. But you're too busy sort of still looking at what didn't work and how something could have been different or how it impacted you. And now your energy is depleted here, or like your mindset now is sort of turned in a way that's like making up how you think you need to be, maybe push people out, or maybe I'm meant to be by myself, or maybe blah, blah, blah. And it's like, maybe not. We don't know. But don't let this experience sort of dictate this stubborn energy of putting you in line with something else that's not for you, because you're just going to keep carrying that suffering. So the suffering really at the end of the day could be avoided. But the world is going to keep on turning, and Spirit's going to keep on putting in front of you different situations. And so this is one lesson of knowing that you are of value, and that things that don't work out are for your best interest. And that might sound very cliche, but you really need to dig into and see this from a more spiritual perspective of mindfulness, because when you really understand this, you're easier on yourself. You're not as hard on yourself. You're able to let this go. You don't attain resentments. You don't feel you made a mistake, or that you were doing something here that wasn't good, or that you fumbled the ball or something went wrong. It's like, no. And you could speak your truth, because I feel like maybe there was a lot of holding back energy. It's like we were sacrificing a part of ourselves here, I feel, at the expense of the trueness of how we felt, or the true of what we were actually supposed to bring in. So there was a stifling of self, and a block here in actually receiving what's meant for you. And Spirit wants to put you on the path of the next sort of thing, because I think that you're being aligned here with blessings, but the blessings can't come when we're sort of still healing or in a state here. And this is in your hands. It's like, how long do we want to sit in a state of wallowing? You know, it's up to you. And all we could do is sort of delay our blessings, but we can't change what's going to be meant for us, you know? And so right now I feel like we're not needing to suffer, and we're not needing to sit here any longer than need be, you know? But if we do, like I said, then that's fine. But let's not convince ourselves of something that's untrue, like we were unworthy, or that this had any reflection of self, because it doesn't. And I do feel like there's a need to sort of sit with that, you know, like maybe do some hermit reflecting, because I do feel there's an isolation or reflection. But what are we sitting in isolation and reflecting? Are we sitting and reflecting a truth, or are we sitting and reflecting the failure, you know, the failure? And like enforcing that story, like enforcing the untruth that we believe to be true. And we keep sitting there like justifying that or making it true. And it's like, no, we're sitting in solitude so we could see reality, so we could get honest, so we can see that we didn't fail. And this thing that didn't work out was not aligned with our future. And that the only reason we're so bummed out about it is because we had a control that we had that on outcome. We were really fixated on outcome. But when we control, again, this is stemmed from fear. Fear of the unknown. What if it doesn't go how I want? I think I need to control this thing, you know? No, and more no. So let's see, Spirit. What do we want to say to pile number 2 here in regards to this? Page of Pentacles. New beginning is coming in for you. And it's like right around the corner. Spirit's saying there's a new beginning here. It's coming in, you know? I don't know. Maybe someone wants to talk to you here about a new beginning, but if your energy is like never leaving the house, it's like this opportunity might be the day you decide to go walk up the street, you know? I don't know how this communication comes, but this is about communication and new beginning. But if we're in a different state of vibration here, it doesn't align with the opportunity to come in as fast as maybe it needs to. The Lovers. Look at that. Maybe we're having, you know, a partnership here that is meant to be. This is our divine path. Gemini energy. You're being called on a path here that's meant for you. This is why you were pulled out of that path, whatever path that was. And I think you're really bummed out because your ego had an idea of what it thought its path was. For whatever reason, it was really fixated on that path, you know, and we might be very mad at spirits. No, that's the path I wanted. That's the person I wanted. That's the job I wanted. It's like, okay, I want to be 6'2" and have blue eyes and blonde hair and, you know, not have a baby belly. Well, that's not going to happen to me. So 6 of Swords, yeah. You were being called out of that, whatever that is, okay? The Sun. Oh my goodness, you guys, how beautiful. Look at the sunflower. So what is this? The Sun is the most positive card in the tarot, okay? This is joy, clarity, certainty. This is enlightenment. I feel like you are being called to be more conscious in regards to your spirituality so that you can see things from a more elevated point of view, more clearly aligned with truth rather than your perception of truth. There's a real truth. Once you shine the light on this awareness, this understanding, I think you heal a lot faster and you can move out of this wallowy state, you know? This is also ego. So I feel like we're really working through some ego shadow work, you know? We really got a confidence blow here. We might still be attached to our ego in a way here that's wanting control. It's like, no, your ego needs to be looked at and transmuted for you to find happiness and peace here and go on your path. Don't beat yourself up here sitting in that, okay? But this is also divine masculine energy, and I feel like there's a need to take some form of action, even if it's just leaving your house, because I mean, with this feels really isolated, you know? Or maybe this is like, I don't know, like, did we like cut ourselves off from dating forever? You know, that's kind of what it's giving me. And it's like, well, Spirit's saying, well, the minute you sort of just be neutral about it, you're going to align yourself with like the best thing ever here. But maybe you're like going opposite of this. Like, I never want to see a person again, you know? That's kind of what this energy is giving me here. But there's definitely an opportunity and a potential here. And I do feel this with a partnership here, because maybe you've been single for so long. You know, 3 of Cups. Look at that. Dating scene, networking, celebrating, hanging with friends. This is also a card of reconciliation. Okay. But I don't know, like, are we finally seeing something here about how to get along, how to be celebrated? And maybe we were in situations where we didn't feel celebrated or seen. But again, in order to find the partner, we have to sort of put ourselves out there. We can't be recluse. We can't be isolated. You're getting some form of message here. I don't know. This, like I said, could be the network of friends, celebrations, reconciliations, being appreciated. It's also the card of pregnancy, which I don't know. I don't generally read it that way. I'm not seeing Empress, but maybe you're birthing something here right by the sun. You know, this is source energy, father energy, creating something, and this is birthing something. And this could be like the path is like creating this new blessing. Let's see. Interesting. 8 of Pentacles. Yeah, this is the work card. Are you creating something here? And Spirit's also talking about you do have agency over the efforts and where you're putting it into. Because I do talk about the non-doer, right? But Spirit's saying you have an ability to do when it comes to choices in your world, in the reality in which is unfolding in front of you. Not go try to change reality or force it to be something it's not, you know? And so it's like, where are you investing your time? Yeah, where are you investing your time? This is what's going to speed things up and allow you to move out of 5 sword situations and places you don't want to be. King of Wands. Wow. So some of you guys are really focused on pursuing a career thing here. I mean, I do feel an isolation here, but I feel like Spirit is really talking about the fire being brought in here with passion and desire and a focus on a creative project or work or something like this that might be very beneficial and really aligned with your destiny. 2 of Wands. Beautiful. So this is going down the path, and maybe it's the path that we were avoiding or not wanting to go down, you know, and it's like, no, let's choose the path. The choice is in our hands to sort of take a look at this rather than maybe avoid or not want to see, because I feel there's a decision here, and the decision is to come out of maybe hibernation or to do something here. Let's see. Why is 2 of Wands here, Spirit? And the Lovers. What's this choice? I think the choice is just an active, conscious decision that's not made from the ego, you know, that's not made, I need to control, I need to cling, I need to do this. It's like, no, I'm aware and I can see things clearly because now I can consciously choose my path by being in the real, in the know, in the honest, not in the fantasy or in the pain body that's like trying to run the show here, you know, by saying it'll only be better if this, it'll only be better if that. That's all illusion. No, it won't only be better if this or that. That's your mind telling you this. 4 of Wands, you guys, wowzers. So 4 of Wands is the commitment card. It's all about the soul tribe coming together, ideal relationship, a union, celebration. There's a massive celebration here. And our soul tribe. We see 2 people here. And we see a King of Wands. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy. Gemini, Leo. So you're at a pivotal point here. And I do feel is with your destiny to bring in your calling. Can we get a sneaky peek? What is this 4 of Wands? 3 of Pentacles, working with the right people. You're creating something here, like I said, with the sun energy, and I was getting it from the 3 cups with that birthing something. This is where us and another person, entity, business, company, I don't know, we create something. It's the synergy of working together in order to create something of substance, something that'll stand the test of time. And I think the universe is trying to move you in that direction because you're creating something here that's very solid and it's very much in the 3D world, but it needed to get you on that path. And I do see people here, or a person. What is this? Can we get more about this? 3 Pentacle. That's also counseling card. Working together to find solutions when there might be challenges. Spirit, what is this? The Queen of Cups. You're creating something here. This is all about compassion, love, intuition. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You can love again, pile number 2. Ace of Wands, yeah. You're going to be fired up about whatever this is. I don't know if this is a relationship for some of you guys. It could be with the King of Wands here. Okay, somebody who is very passionate and excited about you. Maybe somebody you meet at work. Maybe someone in your soul tribe. This is all about dating, networking, celebrating. You know, maybe someone you meet at a party. Could literally be talking about a wedding. You know, and I feel like this is someone or something that gets you fired up, that really speaks to your heart, that really gets you to tap into love again, or creation again, or a zest, and fire you up. It's a new beginning. You choose this new beginning with this 2 Wands. You choose that Ace of Wands, that new beginning. And maybe you're just sitting here like still festering over what coulda, shoulda, woulda been, you know? And Spirit's saying, okay, time to move on. You know, of course you want to maybe mourn this thing or whatever, but I feel like we wouldn't be seeing this if Spirit says it's now time. And maybe the only thing that's really holding you back, like I said, is that mindset. You know, we're still fixated on outcome and trying to control or prove ourselves in some way. And it's like, I didn't get it, so now I'm less valuable, or it's proving my self-worth. We're saying, no, none of that. Because whatever is coming in is going to reflect to you what you're actually worthy of, which is creating this beautiful thing. But you are a part of this destined plan here with this dharmic path. And if you're not there, it won't get created for this world or this person, you know? So you need to become available here. And it wants to come in because there's a beautiful new beginning. So I don't know. I feel like for this group, let's just see if there's final message here. Maybe something I've missed, but I do feel like we're telling ourselves an untruth here repetitively, or we believe it to be true still. And there's a need to shed the actual light of reality on that so we can see clearly, which means we got to be conscious. We can't just be letting the fears and the need for control be in the driver's seat of, you know, the suffering, and we don't even question it. We're just sitting there suffering, feeling rejected, feeling let down, feeling abandoned, feeling betrayed, feeling, no. That's a choice. It really is. You know, betrayal is not the choice, but your state of being after you get betrayed, that you have full control over. It's up to you with the 2 Wands. Let's see. Final message. What is it pile 2 needs to know then? What's going to help them with this? Page of Cups, communication. This is also an apology card, and we saw 3 of Cups. I don't know. Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe they want to apologize and give you the closure you need. There is confession here, you know, that allows us to move forward. But I feel like Spirit is saying, despite whatever this thing is, it doesn't dictate your value. And so I think we're needing to learn this, despite maybe getting closure. But I do feel that's this communication with the Page of Cups. That's also the beginning stages of opening our heart space. So somebody could be flirting with you. You could start to fall in love again, or we could start a creative project. Like, that's the early stages of this creation, you know? All of this is possible here. Reading for a collective justice. Look at that closure that you were needing. And this closure could just be, I'm now really focused on this creative pursuit that's giving me the balance I need because I was in a very unjust situation, or someone coming in with an apology in order to make things right. You know, or I've been solo for so long because of my bad experience. It's like the universe is coming in to give you justice. They bring in someone here who makes you feel good, that you can fall in love with. That's very innocent and pure. Yeah, it's beautiful here, you guys. Yeah, the Wheel of Fortune. Look, the wheel is turning. Things are going to work out for the best. And this is the universe. What did I say? The universe has control, not the little I, not the me that thinks I have control, not the one that's trying to over-martyr myself or force outcome. It's like, no, trust in the universe. It's going to turn. And so if we were in the shitter, okay, in the shitter, if we were down in the outs, because I really feel there's like an isolation here. not trusting and feeling hurt or even bitter or angry here about how something panned out. Spirit saying this is about to turn. You're about to get justice. You're about to be on the path of success here. Look at that. Again, the most powerful card in the tarot, the Sun. Divine masculine energy. Whatever is unclear becomes clear. Wherever there was injustice, it's now clear to you. You're going to be happy again. This is the happiest card, okay? Joy. And we can't be happy when we're obviously angry or having any lower vibrational stuff, right? And so the whole point is about how do we let happiness come back in, is let spirit take the wheel and release and let go, not control, not force outcome. That's how happiness comes in, not through forced happiness or positive affirmations, say it enough, or force myself, control the happiness. We can't control the happiness. The happiness will come when we, ironically, let go and let God. That's what this is saying. Something's coming towards you that's absolutely fully abundant, that you're going to be a part of building, that works with you, with the 3 Pentacles. You're not having to overgive or overinvest, okay? It's beautiful. And like I said, I don't know, for a lot of you guys, it's this new stirrings of love. Some of you guys, it's an apology or some closure here that allows things to change for the better, you know? Maybe it's a divine masculine who finally sees the light. It could certainly be, but I feel like there's a need to let go. That's the whole point here. Not what someone else can do or be for us, but what we can do and be for ourselves, and how much trust we have in the divine, into turning into the unknown and choosing the other wand and saying, you know what, I'm going to choose the other wand, wherever that may lead. That's a higher state of consciousness, knowing we have a choice to choose the unknown rather than be too fearful and cling to what it is that we think is better for us. You know, we don't know. It could be just out of a fear of control that we're staying there and trying to, I don't know what we're trying to do, but it's certainly a stuck, fixed mindset, you know. But 3 Cups, separation, Page of Cups, a 3 Pentacles can certainly talk about a reconciliation, you know, and the 2 Pages talking about communication and things working out, you know, and yeah, definitely working out in a balanced way here. Justice is served where there was a lack of balance or justice. Okay, however that is. If that means going separate ways, then at least there's a balance and there's fairness here at the end of the day. Okay, so pile number 2, I love you very much. I hope this helped you. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, pile number 3. You guys pick card 48 with Jupiter, Neptune. What are we looking at? We're looking at you versus yourself, okay? Current energy, and guidance, just so that you can have maybe some confirmation or a different perspective here that might help you throughout whatever it is you're experiencing at this time. Okay, now it could be that I tap into energy around you. It could be someone else. Don't take the energy if it's not yours. Assign whoever you need to, but whatever message comes through is a message Spirit is wanting to deliver to you. Now, come from the dentist, and so I sound maybe a little funny here. My mouth's really sore, and so I don't know how much longer I want to be doing this for, but let's hope that your messages come through clearly. And yeah, I'm getting a very spiritual energy here from your pile, you know, like very, very highly spiritual. So let's see where you're at here, whether you're at your potential or what's going on. So Spirit, clear and concise message here regarding pile number 3. Energetically, what's going on in their world? What are they needing to know about themselves here in regards to their current energy? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. Thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you so much, pile 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. Pile number 3, Spirit. All right. Pile number 3, them versus themselves. What are they needing to know about their current energy, situation, circumstance? that will help them navigate through this. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. That one right there. And more. Wow, a million. Overlay and the mask of altruism. Interesting. Let's pull those two. I feel one more. Every time I try to say it, I want to say automation because that's all my mouth can say. Automaton. Black. Automaton. Automaton. The bubble. The bubble. The bubble. This is reverse hangman. Alrighty then. Let's keep going. We have attachment. True growth requires letting go. Clinging. Dependence. Addiction. Oh, this is a blend of 1 and 2. I'm going to call it really short. Okay. 92. Mystical union, growth level, divine love, acceptance to receive, unconditional love, self-esteem, pure altruism, interesting, the mask of altruism, universal empathy, personal well-being. Number 2, type 2, the helper emotional center between giving and receiving. This is the root chakra. My mouth's really starting to hurt here. Okay, 49, purification path, ego level, living the ordinary, living in the real world. In the real world. All right. Stopping comparison, personal value, living in the now, working together, appropriate emotions. Type for the individualist emotional center between lack and abundance. Oh my gosh. Right when I read living in the real world, I had this like disdain. Like I really didn't like this real world. And this is the mask of altruism. And this is pure altruism. Do you know what I'm saying? There's like, I don't know. Where are we living, you guys? Are we living in the 5D here? I felt a very heavy spiritual energy here. Living in the ordinary. Oh my God. And I just heard chop wood, carry water. So something about the 3D world here that's coming through. Interesting. 69. Disbelief. Taking on responsibilities. Chop wood, carry water. Initiatory ordeal, stress level, personal decision, insecurity, taking risks alone, breakdown of trust, destruction of beliefs. Number 6, type 6, the loyalist thinking center between mistrust and trust. Oh, wow. All right. 104, return to the world. I don't know. I'm getting these really weird waves. Growth level, transmitting, mentorship and guidance, spiritual leadership, teaching, wisdom and sharing, support and advice, spiritual education. Number 5, type 5, the observer thinking center between interior and exterior. And the light attribute, this is all about like sharing spiritual wisdoms, you know, and mentorship and that sort of thing. These are very similar. Alrighty. We have 82, integration, growth level, pleasure, organization, relaxation, joy, serenity, celebration, high level of ethics. Type 1, the perfectionist instinctive center between control and letting go. Oops, we see tits here and I didn't. Okie dokie. We have the YouTube overlords that don't like that. Alrighty, whatever. We have 16, basic fear, ego level, deprivation, psychic pain, shortage, lack, sadness, insufficiency, physical pain. Type 7, enthusiast thinking center between pleasure and pain. Wow. Okay. And we have hyper creativity. This one always comes out when I do this. Same with this one. Very interesting. And there's so many cards that could come out. It could be my collective that I'm tapped into here. So 83. Number 4 and 2, it says hypercreativity, accepting one's emotions, existing by oneself, originality, resourceful, standing out, self-knowledge. Type 2, the helper emotional center between giving and receiving. Seduction, 30. Oh my gosh, now I'm being pulled back to number 69 here. Interesting. Relationship skill, ego level, seduction. Attractiveness, charisma, glamour, beauty, elegance, and gallantry. Type 3, the achiever, emotional center between appearing and authenticity. Number 3. And we have 42, or the number 6, neutral event, re-encounters, to meet again, reconciliation, reunion, returning, gathering, end of a separation. Type 6, the loyal thinking center between mistrust and trust. Oh my goodness, is this a blend of 1 and 2 spirits? Am I doing this reading today for real? Happy event, growth level 83, motherhood, being pregnant, giving birth, maternity, adopting, giving life, childbearing. 2, type 2, the helper, emotional center between giving and receiving. So Spirit just told me, I really feel I'm reading for twin flames here in today's reading. Type 1 felt very divine masculine. Type 2 felt very divine feminine. This feels like a blend. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just going to channel this, okay? Take what resonates. If you don't want to listen to 1 and 2, don't have to. Maybe this is a part of yourself. I have no idea. Don't shoot the messenger. My mouth hurts, and I'm only going to communicate to bare essentials here. Alrighty, but I do want to see what this overlay is all about because, and my because is enough. Just cause. Alrighty, I'm not going to read it all. I just want to see. You have drawn this sigil. You're currently stuck in an overlay. You're being called to step out of it so as to base your thoughts, words, and actions on reality instead. Imagine that a person is in a prison cell from which there is no escape. They cannot cope with the reality of the prison cell, so they begin to escape from it with their mind. They start to play a game of pretend. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay. If you have drawn the sigil, you are in an overlay. Unless you see it from the overlay for what it is and see the reality underneath it, you will be unable to make the choices and changes that will manifest what you so desperately want in reality. Now you are just pretending they are happening in reality, when really they are a fantasy you're living in so that you do not have to face reality. Oh my goodness. Well, yes, the mask of altruism, totally in line with that. But let's just read the first few lines, and then you guys already know what this is about. Alrighty. So if you have drawn this sigil, you are being asked to see what society has made self-focus and self-interest so bad and wrong that you can no longer see selfishness and self-interest in yourself. Instead, you have disguised it as altruism. The mask we use of altruism in many ways to disguise our own self-centered interest, helping or rescuing someone or something as a way of externally rescuing yourself. Wow, look at this. It says, it can be very hard to see that you are doing this because we so often use altruism specifically in order to see ourselves as a good person, and recognizing that you have ulterior motives makes you feel like you are a really bad person. But if you have drawn the sigil, you're being called into graduated self-awareness. You're being asked to see that it is not evil to have self-centered interests. We all have individual wants and needs. When those self-centered interests become dangerous, it is when we aren't consciously aware of them and we begin to get them in an indirect and disguised ways. If you are meeting your needs in this way, it is a guarantee that it will backfire on you somehow. This sigil wants to spare you from that pain. If you have drawn this sigil, it will benefit you to spend some time accepting in the energy of sigil 2 as well as this one, and coming to understand the message as well. Okay. Yeah. Alrighty. Oopsie. Spiritual energy here. Worst enemy here. What's happening? I do feel I'm reading in regards to a twin flame journey. I can't not see this. Okay. But you could call it whatever you want. That's just words. It's just a label. And it doesn't really mean much of anything, okay? The true reality here is that you are coming closer to getting to know your divine essence here through coming closer to God and truth of what is spiritual and what's going on in the 3D world, and understanding this difference. When we are suffering, we can definitely spiritual bypass, and we cling to a world of fantasy, whatever this looks like, religion, spirituality, a higher dimension, and sit there. And what good is this when in reality we might be suffering or in shambles, I say shambles, but deprivation, not getting what we want. Either we're in situations where people don't treat us good, or we're overgiving, or we are suffering because we think we need to suffer. But whatever this is, lack mindset, because I feel I'm reading both the masculine and the feminine energy here. And until we get called and pushed to the level of our breaking points of understanding that there is no lack, there is no separation, but not through bypassing and not through convincing ourselves that we're really seeing some spiritual concept unfolding in front of us, that we're really being love and light, but all we're really doing is sort of toxic positivity. I'm not saying you're doing this, but I'm just giving an analogy here so that we know. And sometimes we got to fake it till we make it. Totally makes sense in some capacity, because we might have low self-esteem or not believe in something. And we have to sort of keep telling ourselves there's another truth. There's another truth. As long as we know we're aligned with a greater truth and we got to undo programming, then fine. But I think we're at a point here where we know, because we've been through enough to know what is spiritual and of a higher good, and what is happening in the 3D and what isn't in our highest good. And I think we've been called to deal with a higher good out of true divine love. And true divine love doesn't necessarily mean for a divine partner, but for all involved, everyone involved. What's the divine truth of love? Is to be honest with reality, not what we want it to be, not what we wish it were, not with the potential of what someone can do, not the potential of what a connection can be, not based on unconditional love, no matter how much somebody abuses us or how much someone will love us and how much they'll take of us, or that's how much abuse they'll take from us. But it's personal well-being by knowing what it is that is truthful and aligned with the highest good of all. And I feel like we had to make a personal decision was really in line with the truth. And if we haven't done that, we're being called to do this. And maybe we've already done this. And Spirit is like supporting this decision. And there is no one on this earth that can rock your peace and your joy. If someone's rocking your peace and your joy, then they're not aligned with your highest good in this 3D world. And there needs to be a revision of this, okay? Now, this doesn't mean we're not loving and compassionate, because on my channel, I always talk about forgiveness, love, and compassion, number one. And love and compassion being number one is about love and compassion. What's best for self is going to be what's best for other. Because if you're not loving and compassionate with yourself, there is no way you could do anything for anyone else. Okay? And I feel like there is this need to accept reality in this 3D world as part of reality as much as we would our spiritual reality. I feel like there's spiritual lessons being learned here. We might have had to really go through the spiritual court, so to speak, in regards to whatever lessons, whatever hardships. And I do feel like there might have been a separation. Okay, because I'm seeing here shortage, lack, like going through, like being deprived of something here, being deprived of love or another. But whatever we were dependent on another to bring to us was actually a dependency rather than, like, it was attachment love rather than unconditional love. So we need to know the difference. And I feel like there might have been an attachment here and a need to let go of the attachment so that unconditional love can come in. And in order to do this, we need to have a healthy level of self-esteem. We need to have a healthy understanding of choosing self. We need to make this personal decision. We need to be responsible for our decisions. We need to deconstruct any beliefs, no matter how virtuous, no matter how much we want it to be out of love. It doesn't make it so. So there's a deconstruction of beliefs that aren't necessarily true, that are based on fantasy and potential and desire of a wannabe. And then there's a deconstructing enough to accept great truths, no matter how painful, because I do feel like there was painful in accepting the truth. But by accepting the truth, we're accepting ourselves. And I feel like there's an acceptance of our own emotions, an acceptance of what's actually happening. And this could have been at battle with this attachment and this seduction. We're really pulled by the devil, the attachment, pulled by this person, pulled by desire, pulled by the potential. And we could have been pulled by the spiritual story. Whatever the pull was, it was still masquerading as a truth. But it was like the fantasy world that kept us asleep, that wouldn't allow us to deal with the right here, right now. And so what Spirit's talking about here? Spirit's really talking about when we're in the matrix, so to speak, there's different levels of consciousness, and they happen on levels. First, we might be aware of the corrupt system, school system, government, food, manufacturing companies, whatever the corrupt systems are, that might be for the first layer here of awakening. That doesn't mean we're awakened. We might have an awakening of understanding there's different sort of dimensions of spirituality and feel we're awakened, but completely sort of detached from a 3D world here. But that's not awakened either. Okay, now I'm not here to point out who's awake, who's not awake. I don't know. All I know is there's different levels of consciousness, and we can hide in spiritual bypass in the mystical world, And we could be doing things thinking it's for the greater good of a connection, or the greater good for, I don't know, other people, or the greater good. Meanwhile, it's like our own backyard's on fire, And so I feel like there's a need for us to look at what we weren't wanting to look, because I feel like there's a disbelief here in what we're accepting to see here, which I think we didn't want to see. And it most likely is somebody in a pile 1 energy. And pile 1 was very disturbing for me to read. But it doesn't make it less true. Okay? And it doesn't mean that there's someone evil. This just means there is reality in understanding that there are hurt people who aren't living in their highest good, who are really tormented by their own pain and shadow. And it really has no bearing on who you are as a person and how you engage with that person, period. End of story. Because when someone's hell-bent on going down, they're hell-bent on going down, no matter how godly or how overgiving someone might be. And on the flip side, if we're hell-bent on being loved because we feel so shitty, and we're really seeking out a partner here that's going to be our savior, to give to me the love that I feel I really want. And so I'm going to be at my worst and keep escalating my worst. And it's like, this person didn't prove to me their loyalty or their devotion. They must not love me unconditionally. This is twisted. And we might not believe this. It's like, how could this person who told me they'd love me forever and abandon me, leave me, And so Spirit is talking about this sort of fine line, which is very paradoxical here in spirituality, because this mother, and I've talked about this when this card comes out, she creates space for her child. She shares her body. She will do anything for her child. It's not even, a question. And I feel like there is this type of unconditional love. Okay, and when we say unconditional, it's like there is no condition, right? So we would say, well, this would be unconditional love. Absolutely. But this child does not come with traumas and shadows. This child does not come with any sort of self-destructive tendencies. When this child does something that impedes on the mother, like needs more space or cries in the night, things that make the mother sort of suffer, the mother will put up with this, of course. But when this child ends up becoming someone that knows better, like in their 30s, let's say, and it's their child, even though it's still their child, but they steal money or they like try to like not have a job, but like mooch off the parent. The parent has a fine line, whatever point, where they have to put in a boundary. Otherwise, they're complicit in this child's lack of strength and self, and is proving that the child is incapable of being more for themselves. So they're enabling that child to be not a productive member of society or whatever, or capable of taking care of themselves. A parent who doesn't allow their child to understand and figure this out because they need to, like attach themselves to the apron strings of the motherhood. It's more about self. It's not about the child. And so this mother knows when she's dealing with a teenager, she's not going to be the teenager's friend to get along with the friends just for the sake of it. She's not going to enable the child and not say things like, okay, I'm just going to let them eat a whole bunch of desserts and, store drugs in their backpack and get expelled and do this without doing everything I can, even if that means being the bad guy. That's unconditional love. That supersedes the mother that's there. Just carry the drugs in your backpack. Just go get arrested at the mall for stealing, and not to do anything. That's a mother who it's all about herself, and she doesn't know how to be supportive of this child. And there are parents like this, of course, and they might chalk it up as to unconditional love. Meanwhile, no, it's not. No, that's about her own trauma coming out, not wanting to be hated. It's all about herself. How am I going to be appreciated or seen by this child? I want them to like me, or I don't want them to be angry, or like it's all about how I feel in the equation and how the relationship is in regards to me, rather than I don't give a rat's behind what this person thinks of me. I want them obviously to love me. It's my child, but I'm going to do whatever it takes for the best interest of this child, period, end of story. That's unconditional love. And this is what this divine feminine's doing or being asked to do. That's unconditional love. Cut the apron strings of this attachment. This divine masculine needs love, but he needs to see that he is no longer this child. He can make these decisions, but he's carrying a lot of shadow. And he's maybe trying to prove her love here, saying, I'm this child. I want to cry in the night and do all these things. And I think she could put up with an unconditional love in that aspect, in that regard. But whatever's crossed the line here into the teenager who knows better, or the adult child who just wants to mooch, there's that difference. And her unconditional love now speaks volumes, because now she says, child, I have so much faith in you and trust in you that I got to do the thing here. That doesn't enable your twisted view of how you're seeing yourself or what you think you're capable of, because I know you're capable of more. And this is unconditional love of the child, but also unconditional love of self, because the self here is so strong in saying, I don't care if I'm not seen or loved back. It's not even about this. It's, I have this strong love for this other person, this person who I'm devoting my actions to in a way here for the greatest and highest good of all. But unless we have high self-esteem and have a strong sense of self-worth, and we're attached with this apron strings because we want to be valued by that child, or we have this codependent, destructive relationship. No, that's not what this is about. And the only way we can do that is to get into reality here and to face things we might not want to believe in the other. This person could abandon me. That's not unconditional love. They didn't let me act poorly. And sometimes we feel like this is a child, when we like behave poorly, like a teenager, and it's like we wanted our parents to like accept that part of us, but we know that the parent is firm with us. We might be angry at first. Why do they ground me, or why? And then when we're older, we look back and like, man, I was a horrible teenager, It's like, man, I put my parents through the ringer, but then we appreciate that they were putting in guidelines and support. And if they didn't, we could have been, on death row somewhere in prison, which prison was talking about here. So I think someone's in prison. Okay, it could be a metaphor here, but I don't know. I think someone's really pushing it here. They're really pushing it. And so there is this prison analogy coming through, because I do feel like there is this feeling maybe really isolated or in timeout in the corner. having to review, having to sit with whatever it is that we've been doing here. So this is all about getting in front of the programming. And the programming is the trauma, the pain body, the shadow that makes decisions and actions and then wants buy-in from the other, or turns a blind eye because we think that's unconditional. And those are not the truth. That's covering up the truth. The truth is seeing what is being dished out and having acceptance for what is, and acceptance of reality. That's the greatest truth we could give to someone, is be honest and then deal with that accordingly. Not bypass, not avoid, not pretend it doesn't exist, not be in fantasy. And I feel like maybe we were really hung up on one story for a very long time, the in denial story, covering up the truth. And Spirit is saying, this is what's being brought up to the surface for us to deal with and look at and understand. And there's great spiritual lessons here that we can finally understand and see, so we can come back to society or the collective to deliver this sort of unconditional love, this divine love experience. Because only through experiencing this are we able to fully understand what is being delivered here and how to give unconditional love, this beautiful love. This is a beautiful love. The parent who doesn't care whether the child, is mad at them for taking away that their whatever, their life is ruined because the parent was like, did something here. And the parent wouldn't think twice about doing this because the child's first and foremost health and safety and what the parent knows to be the right thing. Not because society says so, not out of their own triggers and traumas and attachment wounds and programs, but because they know that the best, greatest thing for this person is for them to deal with their own suffering and deal with anything here that this person might have been enabling or upkeeping that's creating pain and suffering, like addictions and unhealthy ways of thinking and adapting and growing up in the world of spirituality, because this is all about soul growth. And so there's a lot of spiritual leadership being led by the divine feminine. I'm not talking gender, I'm talking divine feminine energy that leads by choosing unconditional love. Okay, but if she doesn't love self, if she's still in shadow and wound, she keeps sort of choosing to turn a blind eye and not cut the apron strings. And that's a very difficult lesson to do, because there is a fine line, like I said, between knowing when the child should know better and is sort of misbehaving. So let's see. Pile number 3, Spirit, why are we seeing this? Oh yeah, and then one thing that was coming up was this re-encounter and this reconciliation. I don't know if this is reconciliation of finally coming home, to the greater spirits, or if this is a reconciliation of these two once this lesson is sort of processed. I don't know. I don't want to give false hope here with reconciliation, although pile number 2 was coming up with a reconciliation clearly. And I'm not going to just avoid what I'm seeing here because someone's going to get triggered and say, I don't want to see that person anymore. You're a narcissist. Okay, well then it's not your reading. You're just trying to convince yourself. I don't give a rat's behind. Anyway, 7 swords. Somebody lied. Someone feels cheated on, lied to, stolen from. Look at all these chickens. And we see a fox with its back turned. Someone was sneaky. Someone was avoidant. 7 swords. Lying, cheating, stealing. Sometimes it's strategy. Sometimes it's the card of avoidance. Card of like doing it alone, not letting anyone out. And we feel deceived. We feel like somebody lied to us. We still feel slighted. I don't know. Do both people here feel slighted? Let's see. 3 of Cups. This is the card of reconciliation, you guys. Okay, but it's also the card of third party. What's third party? Something else is getting in the way of you and I. whatever this is, another person here that's calling the shots. My addictions, my unhealthy way of engaging in my world, my shoplifting, I don't know, me being in prison, whatever this third party is here. There's a third party here. And when there's three things here, there can't be two, or at least the equal distribution. So I don't know, did somebody find out about someone who cheated? Or did someone feel deceived because someone couldn't choose them? Most likely that. Would let another sort of thing get in the way, which is very hurtful, you know, when we feel we need to be on some sort of understanding. We don't put up with like scraps or, you know, because what does that say about ourselves? But then we feel deceived. We feel like, yeah. And if we're like the person here who is trying to upkeep the third energy here for whatever sabotage reasons, it's like feeling maybe let down in a way here. It's like we wanted our cake and eat it too. Like that child, like I said, is now angry, you know, at their parent. Why can't I have all my stuff here? You don't love me. No, not true at all. So what is this? Are we reconciling or what is going on here? The Magician. We have all the tools in order to manifest our future in the 3D. This is all about 3D. This is also communication. Virgo, Gemini energy. Our thoughts become manifestations. Our words become manifestations. Yeah, our words and our thoughts are becoming manifestations. So let's see. The Two of Pentacles. So there's a decision. There's a need to prioritize, a need to choose. Am I choosing to keep things sort of superficial here or choose another thing? Then it has to be that world. I can't sit in two different worlds. There's a need to choose and prioritize. And to do this, I need to find balance. That's what's in my control. Finding balance, choosing, and speaking this truth. Is someone confused? 10 of Cups. Wow. This is potential though, right? Potential. An ultimate happy future. Building a future. So I think what Spirit is saying is when we have a real decision in front of us in the real world, because this is both about practical 3D material world, and we're making decisions based on a fantasy of what can be another dimension, some spiritual realm that's not based in reality, and you'll never get the results aligned. So if you need to walk away because of what's going on in the 3D. I wasn't prioritized. I was only an option. I was shut out. Take the tools, take the words, create your reality. Don't base it on, but one day there could be this future. Yeah, and one day I could be a kangaroo, you know, in another lifetime. But I'm not going to base my decisions today based on me being a kangaroo 2 years from now when I am reborn as a kangaroo somewhere in Australia. I don't know. Anyway, 8 Pentacles. This is doing the work. This is putting in the time, the energy, the effort, the dedication, and the commitment. So Spirit is saying again, the proof's in the pudding. Pentacles, Pentacles. The decision has to be made based on a practical effort. If I can't practically put the effort into what I want to manifest, and it's like somewhere in another planet, it's time to decide. Because we're sitting in a state of lying to self, in some sort of fantasy, in some sort of untruth here. And so Spirit says right now, can you touch and feel and put energy into it? Are you able to say something or do something here that's going to allow you to do this? Then do this. If you cannot, and you have no control over this thing, then ask yourself, if this person is keeping two worlds open, is keeping me a part of a third party. And I'm more focused on this, like what could be possible. You're lying to yourself. Time to focus on what you can. And there might be a need to be independent here with this cat, you know? Let's see. Spirit's a deeper layer here. What is this message about then? Why are we seeing this? What are we advising? Guidance for pile number 3. What is this message? What is the guidance regarding their energy at this time? 7 of Wands. You stand the higher ground here to fight for what matters. But first, we got to get honest with the truth. We don't know what matters when we're living in fantasy. So you have a higher ground here to stand in reality. Page of Pentacles. So a new beginning. That's also communication. That's also the 3D world. So Spirit's saying fight for the 3D world of what matters in the 3D world and speak that truth. Communicate that truth. Hang on to that truth. Follow that truth. If it's in the 3D world in front of you, you're able to talk to it or do something, then do that. Fight for that. You know? And you don't have to, Spirit's saying, like, it's not fighting as in trying to coerce something to be what it's not. This is saying you're in a position here to fight for what matters, like stand on what matters, speak for what matters, support what matters, speak truths. Don't shut down, don't avoid, and don't deny or suppress. So these two wanted to come together. The Hangman and the Page of Wands. So what is this? Pisces energy. This is all about sitting with God, which this whole energy was spiritual, sitting with the spirits of God, and coming to understand something differently. That's the opposite of this sort of energy. This energy says, I already know what it's like, and I'm making decisions based on whether this is real or not. It's my perception, and I have a fixed understanding of what I think it is. And then we make all sorts of cockeyed decisions. But when we actually take time out, which is what this is, to pause and consider and really look at reality and say, okay, what's really happening here in the 3D world? And now we could see our position from a different perspective. We make different decisions. There's some truth that needs to be spoken, I feel here, that we are being called to take action on. And I don't know which side you fall on. If there's something you can say, then say it. This is all about a new beginning in the 3D world that we're inspired to do, to explore, based on a different understanding we now have. So we now have a different understanding. We sat, we reflected, we contemplated. We now know what's happening in the 3D world. We're no longer sort of out in outer space, hoping, wishing, fantasizing about a coulda, woulda, shoulda. No coulda, woulda, shouldas here at all. Nope. 6 of Wands. Victory. Success. Ace of Cups. New beginning in love. That's a new emotional beginning. And now it's coming from a place of self-love. It's no longer coming from a hurt place. It's like, I love myself enough. I have a full cup enough to be able to speak a truth from a fulfilled place, not from a hurting place, not from a place of lack, not from needing someone else to fill my cup. This is the only way I can have success and be appreciated and seen, because I appreciate and see myself. And if something isn't appreciating and seeing me, I stand up for myself. That's what matters. Okay, but we need to be very aware of our ego. The Star. Aquarius energy, wishes coming true and healing. And the High Priestess. Oh my goodness, Pisces. Star and Pisces. 2 major arcanas, and with the Hangman. Okay. This whole reading that I'm doing is divinely guided by Spirit and the intuition, okay? Because the intuition, when it's clear, Spirit talks through the intuition and guides us. We're being guided on a destined sort of path journey. Don't doubt this. No matter how much of a challenge it is, no matter how much we might have gotten our own way or things go askew, it's all for a higher purpose and a higher reason that we never fully see. But you're right on path. You're right on path, okay? This is about getting our wish. This is about a vision we have for the future in which we are aligned with our destiny. Spirit's saying this is exactly where you're headed. Okay? Now, the only reason we would get all bunged up here is if we have an attachment to outcome, how it has to be and where it needs to come from and who this person has to be and what they have to do. It's like, no, that would be like false hope, in like our attached outcome. And Spirit's saying, have faith in the divine, but don't get fixed on an outcome of how it has to be or who it has to be. Just have faith in knowing that the divine is going to manifest your wish in front of you for the future, that you're on the right path. You're doing exactly what you're needing to do. And the more you can get out of this mask of altruism, meaning stories of pretend and potentials, but coming to the 3D with your intuition, because we're bringing in the other dimension, like the intuition and the spiritual guidance, but we're bringing it into the 3D. We have to bring it in. Okay, which is interesting because this is all about the prairie tarot. It's all about like crops and like, the 3D world, like actually seeing the fruits here with our eyes, touching, feeling, tasting. I feel like you're being called to really, and the magician, manifest here in the 3D, this spiritual realm that's been calling to you, that's been guiding you up until now. Maybe it's guided you through a train wreck, because I feel like there's been a train wreck here with a divine counterpart, masculine, feminine. But the intuition knows, but Spirit's saying, don't let the intuition guide you into like la la land of spiritual bypassing. Keep bringing it back down to the 3D and say, what is my intuition telling me about what's going on right here, right now? Because that's the only thing I can address, the right here, right now. What I can speak to, what I can address in a way of taking action, and not worry about, how this is going to unfold so much, because then I'm just creating this attachment. But trust in the divine, because this is the healing process. This is the divine guidance. And so you're being divinely guided on this path, And so I do feel, because I want to see, we have 3 of Cups, a Page of Pentacles, and a Page of Wands, which is talking, and a magician, which is all talking about communication and a reconciliation and a new beginning in love. And this Hangman, which could talk about a separation, and I do feel like there's been some deceit here. So I want to see in a practical way what's up here for the twins. Because I do feel, like I said, I'm reading for twin flames here, but is this a reconciliation? What is this about here? Because maybe we're too scared to re-encounter this person or to reconcile. It's like I've been through too much. I'm not sure if I want reunion. Is this reunion of self? I don't know. I'm going to pull a few cards here. Spirits, do we need to know anything about this reconciliation or this 3 cups? What is this reunion? Why is this coming through here? I mean, Spirit wouldn't show it if there was, if you weren't supposed to see it here. So it is this, a Knight of Wands, someone coming in here, Page of Cups with an apology. That's what that's saying. Hey, man, I thought about it. I was unfair. I want to bring balance and justice. And there you are, beautiful Queen of Pentacles, if you are divine feminine. This is all about finding our self-worth. Okay, this Queen of Pentacles also is about boundaries. This is like, the mini empress here. She knows her self-worth and she's capable. This is this mother energy. She doesn't need another person here to rely upon. She gets it done. She's the person everyone relies upon, very compassionate, very grounded here in the 3D as well. And so I feel like there's a very heavy emphasis on the 3D manifestations. So she is reliable and she is practical. And I feel things have been unjust. And so there's this new way of seeing things. And maybe she's had a new way of seeing justice. Maybe she's brought justice to herself. And maybe that's all she needs, And here comes a Knight of Wands with an apology. I don't know if this Knight of Wands is healed. I don't know if this Knight of Wands is still someone who's just going to fizzle out. But I do feel like there's this apology coming in just to, create some peace here. But she's already found peace. So maybe she doesn't need an apology. Maybe she does. But I don't know necessarily whether this Knight is capable of being someone that she wants to have a reunion with, other than a reunion of finding peace and balance here in a harmonious apology. Page of Wands, he's coming in to apologize, but he wants to explore. And I think he wants to explore maybe something that wasn't explored in the past. But you notice, this is a Knight of Wands, this is a Page of Wands. Wand suit is a passion and a desire. And it could be a little self-serving, and it could be something that fizzles out and a little immature. But definitely there's communication here, you know. But this isn't really at a Queen of Pentacles level. Look at that, 10 of Pentacles. So what's this 10 Pentacles? We saw the 10 of Cups, now we're seeing 10 Pentacles. This is a future that we could build upon. That's reliable, stable, sturdy, secure. It's built over time. It's built with another. It's our legacy. It's our family. It's security, it's stability, it's commitment. I feel like this Queen of Pentacles is ready for a stable, practical beginning. I think she understands what that looks like, and she knows when it's fair and unfair. And I feel like this person coming in here, which I do feel is divine masculine, like a Knight of Wands, does have a lot of fire and passion for her. I feel he's a little immature here with this page energy. He might be emotionally immature. He might be a little enthusiastic here, but doesn't really have a full game plan. But I feel his heart is in a good place, and I feel he's being authentically genuine in regards to wanting to explore building a future here, something committed. I don't know if he's capable or prepared. Again, capable. I think he's willing to find out, and I think that's all we could really ask for, you know? Are you willing to try? Or are you going to sabotage? And I think he went down the road of sabotage with the 7 swords, and all it resulted in was a separation and disappointment. Yeah, he wants a new beginning, and he wants to be honest, because I love seeing this Ace of Swords. It's like my second favorite card in the tarot, aside from the Sun card, which is also about clarity and truth. This is about, through adversity and pain, through maybe sabotage and deception, we're now honest. We now see the truth. We're now clear. We now want to speak the truth and take action on the truth. Whatever was unclear and confusing, it's now clear. But I speak the truth, I see the truth, and I take action on the truth. And I want a new beginning in truth, to create a stable future here. And maybe the truth sounds something like, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'm capable. I don't understand how to. I'm just a page here. I feel inexperienced, but I know that I have love, and I know I'm genuine, and I know I'm excited to do this. And I know sometimes I might come in, you know, hot and heavy here. I might get discouraged because I burn out easily. I don't know. Maybe I need different type of support. But all I know is, truthfully, is that you are deserving of truth, and that you are deserving of somebody who can match you with this justice and bring balance to your Queen of Pentacles. And I know I'm not there. I'm a page. I'm not a King of Pentacles. I'm a page. I'm a Page of Cups. I'm a Page of Wands. I'm a Knight of Wands. I'm everything but this King of Pentacles. So it's up to her. You know, it's up to her. If she really wants this, like, lickety split, I don't think it's going to happen lickety split. This takes time to build, especially with a page here. But I do feel like he's honest, and I do feel like he's might have had to sit with God here. And I do feel like, you know, justice is being served with the truth. And whether she wants to go down this maze, because I feel it will be a maze with a lot of twists and turns, it's up to her. But I feel like eventually these two can build a 10 pentacle if they come in truth, if they know of the unconditional love, because unconditional love, again, isn't based on unconditional getting beat up and unconditional attachment. It's unconditional love can really conquer to the highest potential of wherever that leads to. If that leads to coming together, then it leads to coming together. But it's the well-being of these two people, wherever they end up. And we have the power to make these decisions, you know? And so there is forgiveness here if there is a truth to be had. But if we want to stay in anger and we don't want to forgive, then we ask ourselves, was this unconditional love? Or was this just me sort of wanting to hang on to the story, you know, the story that I'm angry or upset or blah, 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 blah. I do feel, though, you know, this Empress or / Queen of Pentacles energy might be very challenged with this reconciliation. I don't think she trusts with that 7 swords. So let's just ask, is this page, we saw the Ace of Swords, which is just truth. And we saw the Hangman, which is a change of perspective, sitting with an enlightened perspective here. Let's see what's gone on with that 7 swords. Has he resolved the 7 swords? Does he see a truth here, or is his truth just that he was unjust, but there's no healing of that 7 swords? What's going on with the 7 swords? Has this page, Knight of Wands, dealt with his 7 swords and his 3 of Cups? The Hangman. He has a change of perspective. He sat with God. He's enlightened. When he comes back, he's going to have some more clarity. He's going to see clearer, okay? Whatever that means to you guys. Now, look at this. He wants a reconciliation, 6 of Cups. This is innocent love. This is love. This is unconditional love, okay? Because this is all about when we give love, when we're not expecting anything, it's not coming from a transactional place. It's coming from a genuine place of innocence, giving. And I feel this, I asked specifically about the deception and the 7 swords. This person's coming forward because they feel an innate desire to give love from a pure place because they've sat and reflected on what was more authentic here to them, you know? Was it deception and hurts and pain and subconscious, or was it a truth that they now see? The innocence within them, the inner child within them. This is all about soulmates. This is all about a person, place, thing of the past, okay, that we feel very much like home and connected to. And this is my card of reconciliation. And so I do feel like this person is genuinely, innocently wanting to deliver an apology because they see the light. However you take it is up to you. They're not trying to deceive you. They're not trying to lie. They're not trying to manipulate. They're not trying to do any of that, you know? Whether they've healed their addictions or their ways, I don't know. You know, they're still pages. They're still learning. But this pure place is all about the first step of authenticity. And so it's up to you whether you want to deal with this person or not, okay? My mouth hurts. I'm done with this reading. I love you guys very much. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.